Let's get everything started. Don't know what that little pip was for, but that's fine. And I guess we should get our prediction going. Now, do I have anything far back enough? No, I do not. That's okay. I just have to make my own as we get this all set up. Music is looping properly. Soviets are blue 4. Mujahedeen are op 4. Perfect. All right, so there's a really big amount of things we have to break down here, to be perfectly honest. There's quite a few ways either side can score points. This is pretty much going to be a raiding objective with a checkpoint securing objective as well. Blue 4, you see the 2 spawns the Soviets get. One right on the 3rd checkpoint, which is the closest one to the enemy, and the other one in the in-between space between the other 2 checkpoints. And the Mujahedeen get to spawn in the town of Shigara. Mostly in this campaign, the Mujahedeen forces have been on the defensive, but today it looks like the Soviets are going to play defense instead, which is pretty nice. And technically, this is not a checkpoint RP. This is more of a checkpoint-themed PvP operation. The next checkpoint RP won't actually be till February, if I recall correctly. January or February, actually, but we'll see. I've got all these other events coming up, but otherwise, we'll see how things go. If you want to look at what the specific mission is before you place your bet down, feel free to do the ! mission command. That will give you a lot of major details on how things are going. I'm sorry to say, Wolf. Usually for events like Checkpoint RPs, I promote those a little earlier on YouTube. I will admit today I've been doing a little bit of promotion for the 8 p.m. op because it's just going to be a meme fest, but we have a lot of silly little things in it. Regardless, Willow, how are you doing, my man? Day's been going all right. Just been getting a lot of editing done and writing out what I want to do for Pay for Pain in a week and a half. And I keep missing my deadline for publishing it, but I'm just deciding I'm going to get everything set up first. And then have it out by Friday morning, preferably. So, who is fighting who? Let me quickly break it down for you guys. So, the Soviets are going to be on blue 4. They're going to be defending 3 checkpoints and defending 5 trucks. Actually, no, I think it's 6 trucks total. I have to quickly do a fact check on that, but I believe it is all 6. There's also the supremacy bonus in play.
Subway someday.
And there is basically 3 radios that can be activated, each one within the checkpoint. And trying to read up if there is anything else here. All right. Only checkpoints with the lowest number still available. Not already liberated will be available for completion. Example, after 1 hour, 10 minutes, if only checkpoint 1 has been liberated, checkpoint 3 will be locked, and checkpoint 2 will be still available. If only checkpoint 3 has been liberated, checkpoint 2 will be locked, checkpoint 1 will still be available. Okay. Interesting features. Very interesting features. Yeah, this is why I didn't write it out, because it's a very, very complex one. So there's just a lot of things to work around here. I'll explain it all once we actually get into the scenario itself. But Ivno, thanks so much for the 7-month resub. I don't think we actually have a Subway around here. It's a lot of Asian stuff, but I'll get a fried corn dog with like a mozzarella topping on it. That stuff's actually pretty good, despite it did sound weird the first time I heard it. But hope you keep enjoying the operations, my friend, and I hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. I still can't believe last night, though. There was a bidding war between Justin and Spartan Nation about me being able to own Goatbester Stallone. I edited that today, and yeah. Hex, if you type !mission, you'll see why I'm not allowed to write that. Trust me, I wrote it right, but Twitch wouldn't let me save the title, so I have to instead look like an idiot, but at least I can put the word up. And that bugs me. Yeah, Twitch is just an edgy little angry preteen, let's be perfectly honest. Doesn't want you to put up certain historical words because they're offensive, and it's like, no, it's just part of the history. Yes, Boo. I'm going to be a little busy with this one, if you don't mind. Okay. Bloodwing's here. She's being really weird. Otherwise, you saw the little announcement right down there on the bottom left. 2 minutes. Start. Okay, Boo. Yes, thank you. I'm sorry if you heard a really big thunk there, because she did grab the microphone. Hope it didn't murder your ears. Alrighty. Otherwise, we'll get things going. You good? Get back to work, Mrs. Squidward. Yeah, crawl up the stairs, you freaking weirdo. Alright. I love that woman. Anyway, we'll probably 1 more minute till everything starts. I will have my TFAR on so we can hear them locally until people start dying, in which case I have to mute myself because otherwise we hear their comms as if they're right next to me or in the same channel as me, and there's nothing I can do to get around that. But otherwise, a lot of objectives here today. I'm not going to go through the individual point scoring because that is incredibly complex, but I'll basically tear it out. If you want to see the individual point scoring or see why I had to misspell Mujahedeen, feel free to do the mission command. Justin, I wish I could, all right? But I'm commentating. I don't have a Zeus interface. But I assure you, I will spawn a goat. We also have fluffers in the operation tonight, but I will spawn a goat. It'll be on the range, and it'll be Goatbester Stallone, all right? I'm also going to have a glass of whiskey for a different reason. Otherwise, you just heard everyone there. I don't know what that was about, but all right. So let's go ahead and look at the attacking faction first. Oh, my goodness. What? Why are there a bunch of people in random areas? What? Okay. Why is Blue 4 all scattered? And why is everyone now magically disappearing? Is this supposed to be some sort of script to let the officers talk? Hold up. Why is there a blue...
The spawning is on.
Guys, you left the map.
The spawning.
Oh my fucking god.
What? What?
What is he zigs me? I bet he's...
What? Wow. You know, I'm going to be honest, it was game over when the Mujahedeen pulled out that AH-6 Little Bird and just decimated everyone. I mean, Op 4, as you saw, Blue 4, as the Soviets were just completely spread out, and the Little Bird was just able to get up in the sky and take them out. That was pretty intense. Like, damn. Wow. All right. That was, That was an early round victory for the Mujahedeen, but that was just the, what's it called? When they put a band up before the actual band plays? An exhibitionist match or whatever. That might be the completely wrong word. I don't remember. But my point is, yeah, that happened. I've got nothing else to say. I've seen some quick Friday night fights rounds, all right? We saw within 30 seconds in a Vietnam match a few weeks ago, the entirety of the Op 4 force get wiped, all right? Because they decided to drive through a jungle. Here, I guess to stop the Mujahedeen... Wait, oh, hold up a second. I didn't see this. There were 2 little birds. Wow. All right, 2 whole little birds. I mean, yeah. OFCRA just slaughtered that completely. Good God. I mean, damn. Why is this man telling me to stop looking at his ass? Oh, I wasn't focusing on that. I was kind of focusing on the 2 freaking helicopters from the modern day you saw. Like, good God. Yeah, I mean, if you believe in OFCRA's Mujahedeen issue, AH6 Little Birds, I guess you know who to bet on, because apparently they have 2 helicopters. I hope you understand that's a joke. Anyway, we're going to reboot into the mission. Hopefully, whatever just happened doesn't happen again. There's TFAR initiating, and I'm sure we'll get through everything here. All right. If you want to know what specifically the mission has, make sure you do the exclamation point mission. I'm flustered right now with what just happened. I do apologize. We'll get back into it in a moment. But it also will give you the individual point scorings because this mission is incredibly complex, but there is a way that OFCRA can do really well in this mission but still scuff it up at the end. And we do bet the prediction based off of the final point tallies. And that's really, really important for this type of scenario because there's a lot of ways points can be scored. Even if one side's doing really well, they can still usually do other stuff. Gaming, yeah, I realized what I said. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, and now back on to our regular programming. All right. We were streaming on the hub on accident. Let's now stream on Twitch. Okay, so as we saw, Blue 4 had a very loose formation all around the checkpoints here. They even had a few guys in OFCRA command. OFCRA, meanwhile, they had a few guys all around and yada-da. Look at this. Someone's actually writing up what we need to know here. Checkpoints can only be liberated from the radio if there are 3 or fewer defenders in the area. That is in the document. I was going to go over it in there. Trucks can only be processed by the side leader in 2IC. Blue 4 are not allowed to immobilize those trucks in any way. That's fair. And only the lowest numbered checkpoint available will not be locked at the 1 hour, 10-minute time of the game. All right. I'll explain all of that in a moment. I won't go through individual point scoring, though. You'll have to do the mission command and get to the link for that one. But otherwise, looking at everything now, it appears that we're not seeing a massive scatter of forces this time. All right, so we got OPFOR down here. I don't see any AH-6 helicopters this time around. That is really unfortunate. I am hearing gunshots, though. So OPFOR is our Mujahedeen force here. We've got multiple transport trucks, multiple Helixes. We have, 3 50-round Dishka cars and an AGS-17, which I believe is actually an AGS-30, but they have it as a 17. But otherwise, we got a sit-down Dishka, a standing Dishka, a lot of long-range support. Thought that was a mortar for a second, but that's actually just something weird sticking out of the ground. And they also have a commandeered BTR-60. Looking over at their weaponry here, we've got AK-47s, PKMs, RPDs. You can actually see the breakdown of their kit right here because they put a line. Lee Enfields with marksman sights on them. We've got dudes with RPG-26s. I never understood this because they give the Soviets the RPG-18, and that's the older one than the 26. So wouldn't the Mujahedeen get the 18 instead of the 26, even though the 26 is also a really modern one, so they should just both get 18s, but continuity. Otherwise, all 7.62 by 39 weaponry. Someone's playing some sort of music back here. This is why we listen to their local comms, because it's a lot. Now, you got to remember, it's 7.62 by 39, and there's no body armor, so these weapons will 1 or 2 tap people. But otherwise, we're also seeing some RPG-7s with some extra rockets there. And I'm not seeing anything beyond that mix of weaponry that I've already described. Do have some of the 3CB factions, LRs there, the older radio packs. But otherwise, we got a good roster here. Looking at the player count, we got Flip for Flap commanding with always under him. Flip for Flap, one of the go-to commanders within OFCRA. Not the most common one you'd see like NASA, but he can still perform quite well in my opinion. Otherwise, we've got PHK, one of the main leadership elements you always see either in the command position or in a squad leader position. He's got Zixme under him, who is one of the few players we really, really like to watch with an OFCRA because they pull some pretty crazy plays. Daedalus is rocking this. Manchot's also here, head honcho of OFCRA. Murdy is also in. I recognize most of the names. The only ones I don't recognize actually is Bob and Haptimen, but it rings a bell, and I probably butchered that name. Otherwise, FAWR is here. Baku's a pretty good player within that group. They all do quite well. You got NASA leading another squad. He's got Swola, Sky Online, Mr. Dave, Demovar, Amir, which I actually don't recognize, but Goatland I do. Good players there in their own right. Rick, Hunt, Rosbo, and Tackle in a group of 3. I'd imagine if they're going to be a group of 3... they're going to probably operate either a BTR or maybe the AGS techie or maybe be a weapon team with some of those statics. Otherwise, we got Ricky Sav here with Nico, Lux, Sipo, Lil Peep, and Alex. And then Bluck leading Rigel, Parthius, Ivno, and Royd Decamper. These 5 are pretty good players. I always love to see what they're able to handle because with the 5 of them against a full enemy squad, usually they either outperform them or at least trade evenly with that entire squad, which nets them a positive KD. So a pretty good attacking faction there overall. Let's go ahead and look at Blue 4. So Blue 4, the Soviets, they've got a small force already up here. Of course, we've got Ziki up here, which is Zixme's antithesis. And they are going to be holding checkpoint 3. We'll get back to them in a second. Let's go ahead and look at the main force here and look at their weaponry. So I was going to look at that, but okay, you could just delete it for me. I guess we'll look at the player kits then. So as you can see, it's AK-74s, 545 by, I forget the times, the number after it, but it's another rifle caliber, which will 1 to 2 tap people on the enemy side since they only have robes, no body armor. We see RSGHs in the field here. That is a thermobaric rocket launcher that I'm not sure if that existed back then, but that's a very nasty PvP weapon. It's a massive AoE, especially against buildings. So I'll be curious to see if the Soviets use that. Hot damn. Otherwise, we've got RP-74s here, which is basically the 74 equivalent of the RPK. Trying to look for any other weaponry we're seeing here, more RPKs. I'm not seeing any PKMs. I know these kits are based off of air assault kits, which I think is the same thing for back in the day. We have, otherwise, yeah, that's all I'm really seeing. I'm not seeing any heavy AT, I'm not seeing any RPGs, I'm not seeing an SVD. Let's go ahead and look back over at Blue 4 here on the checkpoint itself. Ziki's got 74. There's an RPG. All right.
Yeah.
And there's an SVD. All right, so it's left to this team up here to have that. They've also got some drum mags for, I think that's the RPK actually, so, or the RP-74, but that looks like a RPK for whatever reason. Otherwise, I'm not really seeing a lot of disposable AT, and the disposable AT I see are the RSGHs, which, again, I'm going to be really curious to see that. I am seeing grenadier weaponry, though, on the UGLs, but otherwise it's mainly rifles and machine guns, but only LMGs, no MMGs like the PKM. I'm looking back at these guys, I'm trying to see if they have any grenadier weaponry. I'm not seeing any UGLs on these guys at all, even on the leadership element, so that's a weapon advantage on the Soviets, but these guys have a lot more varied weaponry. They've got full-on medium machine guns, they got plenty of vehicle support. Let's go ahead and look back over at Blue 4. What vehicles are they going to be rocking? I see some transport trucks in play. We've got some supply trucks here as well. That is because I believe these trucks are all throughout the AO here. Trying to remember where they are specifically. There's 2 right here. I think these 2 are just transports, but there's 6 different supply trucks that Blue 4 is going to be trying to defend. And the more of those trucks that Op4 can get, the more points that Op4 can get. But if Blue 4 keeps a hold of them, the more points Blue 4 is able to sustain. Otherwise, looking back at the checkpoint up here, we see another transport truck. And then we've got 2 of the supply trucks over here as well. So I'm not sure if Blue 4 gets any vehicle support. This is pretty heavily in the favor of OFCRA at the moment. I'm looking for any other supply trucks. All right, we got 1 here. We've got 2 UAZ Dishkas. All right, so stuff Blue 4 can push down and take. We also have a static Dishka over here. Okay, so we're starting to see some defenses just specifically on the checkpoints. What's really going to bite Blue 4 in the ass, though, is all of these objectives are in so many different areas, so Blue 4 is forced to spread themselves thin or relinquish a checkpoint and anything that is tied to that checkpoint itself. I think they're going to have to do something like that, just sacrifice one objective to go for the other 2. But we'll just have to see how all of that goes with Blue 4's command ideals here. Otherwise, 2-minute start. We've got Despo, Vex, Syax, Skipu, basically the guys we always see in Friday Night Fights. They also play in OFCRA. It was funny to watch last week and the week before. They chose to fight under the OFCRA banner instead of the Friday Night Fight one, which was just an interesting curiosity for me to look at. Settler, Zymek, Mr. Bad Guy, TFP, Malgren, and Jazin here. I actually don't recognize. I think the only one I recognize is Settler. So I'll be curious to see how those guys do today. We got some veterans coming back. Pogo, Roland, Ezio, Nortz, Johnny Depp, Sadler. Johnny Depp I've seen here before. Sadler I think I have as well. Barros I know I have as well. Juno as well. But a lot of really good players in there. Those will be a great antithesis to the Bluck, Rigel, and Parthius group. 1 minute to start. CSF has brought a few guys in. Mazzino, I know, recognize Lolo. Lolo always shows up. He also comes by in our chat once in a blue moon. We get to say hi. But Ray6 coach as well. Already pointed out Zicky with Sixor here. They got Mikkel, Cheeseburger, Swede. Really good players up there. And we also got Doyle and Birdies, who I haven't seen a lot of, but let's see if they can pull something today. And then CSF has also brought Flip. Now I'm going to try to pronounce that one. Dog, Fox, and I'm not going to try. But I've seen him before as well. Flip, I know, is also a really good player. I'll be curious to see how that goes. And again, the reason why I love commentating on OFCRA compared to FNF, at least some of the positives, I like them both for 2 completely different skill sets of reasons. But OFCRA has a lot more players that are the players like in FNF that are T5 Bay, Stark, some really, really good CQC heavy hitters. You don't actually see it as often of a degree in here as you'd see it in FNF because the skill gap in FNF is a little higher. So that allows for people like Stark and T5 Bay and most of the Pepega Pirate members, Nemesis, another one, to just dominate. But here, that skill gap is actually quite small. You're still able to see players like Mikkel, Zicky, Zixme come out and just dominate at times. But they're usually then immediately countered by another person that is around their skill level, such as PHK or Flip for Flap. And it gets messy. It gets messy very, very quickly. And it's just so fun to watch these guys, these titans, I would say, absolutely eliminate each other. That's why I found it so fascinating in the OFCRA versus FNF lineup, because you saw some of those players dominate at the squad level. But then you would see members like Stark or T5 Bay bounce back and actually be an antithesis to those players, and it was devastating at times. And it was honestly absolutely amazing to watch. Dreadnought, I would say it was a draw. OFCRA and FNF played the first week on Thanksgiving on OFCRA's home turf. OFCRA dominated. FNF then played 2 rounds the following week. We covered both of them. The second round, they played 2, and I call it the second round. Second round of that, FNF barely beat them out after OFCRA launched some devastating first wave attacks, and then FNF crushed OFCRA in the second round. Now, originally, I was to agree with Nemesis's point of technically, if you break it down on 3 rounds, FNF won against OFCRA 2 rounds to 1. But Dreams convinced me, because he was absolutely right. It's technically a stalemate because FNF defended on their home turf, OFCRA defended on their home turf. If you can go to another community and dominate them, then that would be the best thing I could say. And yes, I agree with Nemesis. There needs to be a tiebreaker round of 1 round played on OFCRA and then 1 round played on FNF to see if that tiebreaker can break. But I would argue only if you're able to beat them on their home turf can you claim dominance at that point. But, I mean, I rewatched the footage from the Thanksgiving match, and oh my gosh, the amount of times Scandi Recon was just absolutely annihilated. Because that's one of Scandi's weaknesses when they fight those top-tier players. Their tactics can just get completely overwhelmed to someone that just, you know, runs up and two taps like 3 people in the course of 5 seconds. I really want to do a video comparing Pepega and Scandi and just explain why they're 2 of the best communities out there for 2 separate reasons. But a lot of OFCRA teams are really, really good because they follow in Pepega's strategy of just having that tenacity of skill, where Scandi Recon just focuses a lot more on tactics, but that's how they're able to win, with really good tactics communication. But most importantly, I would argue, is positioning. They always end up on the flanks of the other team, and that's how they're able to win, through ambush. I've got some really interesting videos cooking up, actually, to explain some more of the background tactics of all of this. And I do hope you guys like it. I've been trying to shoot one of just, you know, some of my top favorite moments from FNF, but I've been running into some issues with the recording of the voiceovers, and I guess Vegas hates me outright. But otherwise, let me break down how this mission works. So there's 3 checkpoints here. Each checkpoint is worth a few points. Now, the only way to capture a checkpoint is if you find the radio in the checkpoint. OFCRA knows where these radios are because pictures of them have been posted. You can actually look at them through the mission command. And for the video, I will link the website article so people that want to watch this video will go back. But there are 3 radios, 1 in each checkpoint. OFCRA have to go up and do an ace interaction with the radio to activate it. However, it's only going to officially be conquered if there are 3 or less players within the checkpoint itself. Now, I want to point something out here immediately. Checkpoint 3 has Ziki and Sixor in it. 2 players, which, in any other day, any other scenario, just talking numbers-wise without considering who those people are, that would be a really, really interesting strategy, because you are relying on the skill levels of these 2 players to stop an OFCRA attack. Now, let me now factor in these people. Ziki, in my opinion, is one of, if not the best player within OFCRA. The amount of insane bullshit I have seen this man pull at times is nothing short of just godlike. I would compare him to T5 Bay. I'd compare him to Nemesis. I'd compare him to Flip for Flap here, PHK, Zixme, you name it. But Ziki, I don't know why, time and time after again, I just watch him perform work at a degree higher than everyone else. One of my favorite ones to bring up is the first mission in this campaign, the Soviets' airborne invasion of the capital city to the north. This man parachuted in and got 7 kills within the first 20 minutes of just him running around trying to regroup with his squad. Most of his squad died, mind you, but this man just ran around and tapped people, and they couldn't even get shots back. So that is why I think putting him alone here with a guy to support him, Sixor, he is chop off the old block too. Really good player as well. I think they'll be able to really hold this checkpoint. So I think that's a great call on Blue Force commanding officer, which I actually have no idea who he is. I think it might actually be Ziki commanding here. It could be, actually no, it's not, because he spawned up there. It's going to be the guy with the beret on. That's the usual rule of FNF. So it's Kabak commanding, because he's got that beret. So great call on Kabak there for putting some of his most powerful players in areas where they're going to absolutely dominate. But anyway, let me adjust things here. Starghost, thanks for the 5-month resub. I hope you keep enjoying the operations. I hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. David Pathfinder, thank you for continuing your sub as well. And Willow, thanks for giving a sub to Nubas. Nubas, you're not playing today. I didn't... Dang it, man. Nubas is another player that I always love watching. He and I always talk about stuff from time to time. But you pray for your friends on OFCRA to win. Nice. And Tugboat, Yeah, all right. So here's the thing, guys. If you want to come in and play, OFCRA always does 2 matches every week. They do a primary match, which is an hour and a half, and then a 30-minute after match with less players. And then on Tuesdays, they usually have a bunch of small missions. It's usually like a squad v squad thing, which is a lot of fun. I've covered a few of them and even played on the ground there. Just do !OFCRA. That'll link you to their Discord, and you can jump right in on Thursdays or Tuesdays. Happy to see you here, man. There's a lot of really good players that I think you can learn a lot from just by being in their squad or getting assaulted by them in the scenario. Because the way some of these guys play is just nothing short of perfection. And Nubass, I'm really sorry to hear that, man. I hope you're able to get that fixed up soon. But anyway, back to the explanation. These 3 checkpoints, they each have a blue zone. Blue 4 needs to keep at least 4 people alive in that blue zone, so even if they lose the radio, which it gets captured by OFCRA and interacted with, they still won't lose the checkpoint itself. But if they have 3 or less players, then they lose it. Now, after the hour and a half mark, which is 70 out of the 90 minutes, checkpoints start getting locked. So I forget the exact order of it. You can look on the mission command and see it for yourself, but checkpoints will start getting locked down, so I believe it is based off of the higher number. Let me actually look at it real quick to give an explanation. Only the checkpoint with the lowest number still available will still be available in the competition. So let me explain that. So if checkpoint 1 is taken, then checkpoint 2 will be locked. If checkpoint 3 is taken, then both checkpoints should still be left available, I believe. I might have just completely butchered that explanation, but let me post it in here because I'd rather let you guys read it because I am not good at explaining features like that because they go right over my head. But what I'm trying to say is there's a way for Blue 4 to lock checkpoints from being captured in the last parts of the scenario, which forces OFCRA to take less time in their setup and instead charge right in to take the checkpoints themselves. It also might put some relief on the Blue 4 Soviet defense into defending certain checkpoints first so they don't have to worry about the other ones because there's less of a gain that their opponents can take from it. Casting on your TV? Nice, Nubass. I'd always love to watch match commentary on the TV. It makes it feel like an actual sport event. The guy who I based all of how I do this off of, who does Command and Conquer shoutcasting, Spartacus TV. I'm not sure if he still does it. I haven't checked in a while. But I base all of this off of watching him. So just been slowly working up on my voice and getting everything going, talking quicker, yada yada. But regardless, back to the mission. That is just one of the 2 features of this scenario. Major features, I would say. There is also a minor feature, which is that supremacy bonus, where if you kill all of but 5 players or so on the enemy team, you gain some points. Usually that's only called upon when the matches get really, really brutal. But the second feature of this scenario is there are, I believe, 6 or 7 trucks all around the AO. So we have 2 trucks here. We have 1 truck over here, if I recall correctly. Yep. They're basically Soviet supply trucks. So RRR, ammo, fuel, or repair. You've got the 4th truck over here. And then I believe you have the 2 remaining trucks where these 2 players are up here. So the only way the Mujahedeen can capture them is if they have their commanding officer or their 2IC actually interact with them. Then they can be taken. Now, I'm not sure if that's the actual feature or if any OFCRA guy could get in them and then pull them away. And then to score the actual point, the officer has to then do an interaction with it. So if you find out what it says specifically on the mission write-up, feel free to let me know. But otherwise, the points that either side get are dependent on the amount of trucks that are either captured or not captured, leaning more towards one side if more of them are actually taken. So that, again, really interesting feature that they've included in the scenario, really widens the gap here compared to the standard attack and defend that you would see. And then, of course, I already mentioned the supremacy bonus. So, as I said in the beginning of the scenario, I'm not going to go over specific point deviation because that would be a headache to go through. You can look in the mission command and see where the points stack up because there's like 7 or 8 different ways that either side can score points from the 3 things I've already gone over. But otherwise, let's look at unit formation here. So the Mujahedeen have put their commanders in the back line all the way back up here. So I'd assume that OPFOR is able to take the vehicles regardless. They just have to bring them back for the officers to quote-unquote process them. But Zombified Pirate has put the quote down. I will go ahead and read it. Objective trucks have the 3-tone camo and are either ammo, fuel, or repair. Blue Fort transport trucks are green and are not the objective. It's just for Blue Fort to drive around. Only objective trucks marked with the OA close-up. The truck can only be processed by Red Ford's leader and site, 2IC. Ramble rules apply for processing a vehicle for those two. Processing a truck will make it disappear and be permanently completed. So basically, OPFOR can drive the trucks up to the officers, and the officers can then capture them, and it removes them from play because they would just, disappear into the ether at that point. Rambo rule, real quick, is their rule for you're not allowed to go out solo and kill a bunch of people. You're supposed to follow the chain of command. But they're saying you can break that if, one guy steals a truck and then has to drive it all the way up to command, breaking the order, because at that point he's playing for the objective, which I totally agree with. Always play for the objective in these PvP-style operations. Don't always go for kills, because I've actually seen it time and time again between OFCRA and FNF. It costs you. And sometimes it's really funny to watch. One of my favorite FNF moments to date is where a guy had ample opportunities to win the mission. He didn't. And then he fell off a catwalk and killed himself and lost. After it would have been, if he managed to get it, like one of the best clutches I would have ever seen in FNF. That's one of my top 5 F-ups in FNF, and that's coming up in a video soon. Oh, man. Let me go ahead and scroll up here. We had another sub, I believe. 2, actually. Starghost, thanks so much for the resub, my friend, and gifting a sub to Captain 40. And Nicholas, thanks for the 4-month resub as well. I hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. I'm just taking them when I get the time to take them, so I'm sorry that I'm not shouting them out immediately. It's just because there's a lot to go over. But otherwise, OPFOR have separated in 2 separate groups here. We're seeing some sort of pincer strategy starting. However, they are in no position to support each other, so we're probably going to see 2 individual attacks instead. Where they're going to go, I would predict probably checkpoint 3 and checkpoint 1. Whichever one goes first is probably going to be a diversionary attack, so the other one can sneak in. I'd imagine maybe it's this force that's probably going to try to touch checkpoint 3, checkpoint 3 being the furthest away, to potentially pull Blue 4 out of position, so that then this strike force can come in and back cap checkpoint 1 and 2. It's a good strategy, but considering Flip for Flap, he is one of the more prominent commanders here. He's fighting against Kubak, which I haven't seen command a lot, so maybe he's thinking that this could be a strategy to focus on trying to defeat a newer commander, but Kubak has a really good positioning here. Again, he's already put 2 of his best players on the farthest checkpoint out, which, in an urban area, I think they can do really, really well in here. And then he's put just this massive blocking position, anticipating them to go for checkpoint 3 first, and then some defensive lines, not just on the checkpoint, but actually throughout the outskirts of the checkpoint. So it's an interesting call. He's also left his squads to be autonomous here into picking out their own individual positions on where to garrison, which is another great trait of a good leader in PvP. You don't want to completely micromanage your squad. You want to let them do what they're going to do at the squad level, because if you micro too hard, that's just going to piss them off, and then they're going to follow your orders sarcastically with malicious compliance, and you're probably not going to win the match. I've seen it time and time again. So we've got 2 really good commanders here. The real trick is going to be, how does Flip for Flap counter Kubak's strategy once he realizes that checkpoint 3 is going to look like a ghost town? We're seeing him mount his troops over here. They're going to get on the MSR and ready to come down. But look at this. We got a solo guy up here. Robot. He doesn't have a backpack. He's literally just a rifleman. I think he's just going to be a guy shooting his gun in case he sees movement come down. Interesting call. But otherwise, OPFOR's group over here has all the support assets. You hear the BTR firing from an incredibly long range. It's firing at the Blue 4 positions on this hilltop here. They were actually really easy to spot because the trenches are a different texture. You got the Dishka right here as well. That's going to be an open target for him, but they're just going to stay back here. and wait that BTR out. You already hear them calling things out. I would assume either on a short-range radio, or he's not on yelling, so he's not calling it to anyone else. But OPFOR, meanwhile, no, they've gone around the MSR. This is a force of... No, this is where the AGS is. So this is actually a really small force. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players with 2 techies, the 1 AGS, grenade, machine gun, and the Dishka, and then a transport. Where they're going to go on the rear line, I don't know. I don't think this guy was able to spot this movement going around, though. He is running straight for it, but I'm not sure if he actually caught an angle on them, unfortunately. So I was thinking maybe they were going to go down to the riverbed, but that would have made no sense because they would have taken it up here. So instead, they're just riding along the left flank. Interesting call. Even more interesting that Silver... He faintly hears it. That's why he looked, and he might have just seen that tree knockout. So he's going to solo this. The Liru I want my goat back meme, I honestly don't even remember. It was during my first or second year back in 2016 or 2017. I think that's where we started coining the goat meme too, one of our first ops with goats. It's been so long, but now it's just one of our reoccurring memes that we've brought back up. I don't know if Silver... I'm going to explain what he's doing right. He's literally stopping and listening for the Vix, and I think he's thought he heard them in the distance. Really, they just cut their engines, and now he's running away. Is he second-guessing himself? He has to be. I think he's literally just patrolling this road, listening for the Vix, so maybe he thought he was second-guessing where the vehicle sound was coming from. He's now going to check the other side. No, he's going down the MSR.
Ej, dobra, pojebałem kierunki i przeszedłem chyba z pół mapy w jedną stronę.
Is he lost? I think he's lost. I think this man is literally lost. He went down the wrong road, and now he's trying to get into contact with his dudes, and he almost ran up to the enemy. Maybe thinking they were his friends. I don't know. Now he's running back down to friendly territory, but that's pretty damn funny. He is adorable. So Nubas clarifying because of the Rambo rule I mentioned earlier, he's not allowed to engage on his own, which is probably why he's falling back to friendlies, I guess, to tell him that that force is there. But otherwise, you got OPFOR now slowly pushing forces over. They're being led by police here, who's going to scout this out and see that it's clear. But little does he know, he's got 2 of the most baddest motherfuckers lying in wait. I'm a little worried for Zicky, though, because he might be spotted from that ridge. If he's not careful, he might get picked off by a Lee Enfield. Meanwhile, we have another force that's come around to the south. It wasn't this group. They've all dismounted, so this group must have come around all the way to the right. I think OPFOR is planning to hit all 3 checkpoints at once. Opening up with checkpoint 3 to pull stuff from the other 2 and then push things in. This is a very aggressive strategy by Flip. But I don't think it's worth dividing your force like this. Let's look at the roster size real quick. Blue 4, they've got pretty much a full page here. OPFOR have a little less, actually, which is supposed to be made up by the fact that OPFOR have a BTR, an AGS techie, and 5 different anti-material machine guns in the form of 3 Helixes with Dishkas, a standing Dishka, and a sit-down Dishka. So it really favors OPFOR from, to engage from long-range distances, which would favor a strategy of attacking the checkpoints one at a time and just bombarding them with superior firepower. But instead, Flip has divided his forces really, really heavily here. So he's got to time multiple different attacks at the same time. But in this division, he's also weakened all of his fronts. So he also has a freaking RSG. Oh my god. I'm a little worried about OFCRA here because of this division. You gotta feed him, so you gotta follow him home. Oh my goodness. That'd be funny. You just pick up a random player and you get him in your Vic and you bring him with you and he's now part of your squad. That's how Scandy recruits people in FNF, I swear. They just literally find a random person to go, yeah, you're playing with us today. I'm sure Nemesis and Lone Survivor, aka Azariah, can fact check me on that, but I'm 99% certain that's how they do recruiting. Technically, the VTR can't... What's that's now going to be a rule baron here. I love it. So BTR is now scouting this out. The Blue 4 defensive garrison. That RSGH is not going to do anything to a BTR because it's a thermal barrack warhead. You know, actually, that's a lie. I actually don't know because the BTR 60's armor is super freaking thin. It might be enough to penetrate for an RSGH warhead, and then you would claim that the thermal barrack round would explode inside the crew cabin and kill everyone. I have no idea how Arma's physics would work for that, but I feel like an RSGH would IRL be able to do that. But I have no idea. I have no idea. So OPFOR is starting to push their forces in checkpoint 3. They've got these two other auxiliary forces laying in wait. They're definitely trying to bait Blue 4 out, but Blue 4 has already made up their mind by putting these two forces in. So what I think is going to happen is this. You're going to see OPFOR push in some dudes. Best case scenario, I see Sixor dying, but Ziki taking out most of these guys before he goes down as well. And then with that weakened force, you're going to have these two forces either push in and get wiped or regroup and push in and stand a good chance. But I think Flip is in a really bad position here. Best case scenario for Flip, Ziki has a bad day and they take care of Ziki and Sixor no problem. But in the positions they're in, I think they're going to at least come out with 1 or 2 kills each. And right now, the numbers advantage is favoring Blue 4. So OPFOR needs to really just rely on their numbers and their support weapons. If they see an empty area, I think they should just move on from it at that point, because it's just not worth the risk. They should instead focus on attacking a known garrisoned area so they can bombard it with that AGS and with the BTRs and all the heavy weapons they have. Because an empty area, it's one of two things. Either they really did abandon that area and they are going to sacrifice a few of the points early on, or it's a trap. And for an AO like this, where the objectives are super complex, I wouldn't risk it in their shoes. If it was a simple attack and defend, and one checkpoint was a sacrificial area and it didn't have all this extra stuff tied to it, yeah, I'd push in. But because of how complex the objectives are, and you have to take these trucks, bring them out, you have to find a certain position within the checkpoint, capture it, make sure there's a, X or less players within the checkpoint, that leaves a lot of room for the defending faction to set up really, really nasty ambushes on the vehicles themselves, at the radio site, something overwatching the radio site, an explosive trap, which I'm not sure they have explosive, but you get what I'm saying. There's a lot of room for error and a lot of room to take a few really good players and turn them into killing machines. The AGS Vic is with this group up here. And they're... No. 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 What are you thinking? What are you thinking? That is the most powerful asset. I get if they're trying to be stealthy, thinking, okay, Blue 4, we know they have a position up here. They could see a vehicle coming in, but you need to at least leave a guy back there to bring it up when you need it. Like, I get it if you want to be quiet, but you need to leave someone back there to then bring it in the field when you need it. You don't leave it back there. Unguarded. Like, okay, at least OFCRA is utilizing their BTR support properly here, but... why? You know what I mean? Just why? I'm gonna mute myself real quick, because we're about to have combat here. And the last thing we want to hear is Sixor or Zicky get the jump on 2 people and then start hearing them scream after they die. But I think that is a really big misplay here. They want to keep that AGS ready. Because the AGS is really simple. Range it in, bombard that hill, don't have to deal with Blue 4 up there because there's no body armor. So an AGS, a grenade machine gun, would literally shred people if you can walk the shots in. And it's also not that hard to. Even if you don't have anything to range find, you literally just, you have like a 32-round box and that, you know, a big drum. It's a drum. You fire 1 round, you see where it lands. If it lands in front of them, you aim the gun higher. If you don't see it land, you aim the gun lower. It's that simple. You literally can spend half of that magazine ranging the shots in. And then after you have it ranged in, you can then spray 16 shots up there and it's going to get amazing coverage. It's a really, really nasty weapon. And they're leaving it. They're leaving it behind. That weapon could turn the number advantage around easily, and they're leaving it in favor of a BTR. Which, granted, this is a different flank, but why field the BTR? Having a glance at the rules, 600 meters max distance for attached vehicles. Even then, 600 meters... is literally you put it on this hill, you bombard shit, and then you pull it back in cover. 600 meters is still a very good range to utilize. Furthermore, I would say, I've seen vehicles in OFCRA engage at longer ranges. Up, here we go. Wow. I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of expected that. Zicky's now in trouble. Because the Dishka spotted him, is now trying to pin him down. So Sixor going 0-1 there. Not what I was expecting. You've seen some long-range fire going up on that group. They're trying to now draw Blue 4 into a counterattack. So if they left someone with the AGS, they would have had to keep it within 600 meters of them. That's the official rule. All right. Gotcha. Still, it's weird. So you got Sippo down right here. I think he went up here first. Got taken out by Sixor. And then they took Sixor out. Because these windows, I don't see them actually shot out here. So it was just overwhelming odds here. I mean, if the rules force you to leave assets behind, what's the point of having those assets in the first place? Let's be honest. Righto, Nem, thanks for dropping by. So Zicky's in trouble here, because if he gets up, that Dishka's going to tear him apart. But it's now looking at different angles. He actually needs to get out of this building at this rate, because he's not even in the checkpoint zone. And as you can see, it's now whited out. So OFCRA just needs to find the radio, and then they can leave. And that might mean Zicky is completely out of position, which means this early engagement is going to favor OFCRA. Now we just have to lie in wait here and try to see what happens. OFCRA have collapsed the southern flank. They're going to go for a pincer maneuver on checkpoint 1 while this goes on. Now we're seeing Flip for Flap adjust his strategy here. That means I think those groups down to the south were just there to see if Blue Force checkpoint there was fortified. So now he's collapsing his forces. No. Are they going to use the riverbed and try to get right on top of checkpoint 2? At least that group is. These other two are... What is going on here? It's a weird call. So you still have Zicky chilling here. He's got to be careful because that radio does kind of get him away from that Dishka if it's focusing on him. But he's not going to be able to see it from that range. So I think these cars are going to go back and get the assets at this rate because of that rule. Because leaving the AGS behind for this firefight is a massive mistake. And I think they know that, so they're sending stuff back. You got two guys now that have redeployed down here on the south. BTR is pushing up with infantry. I can't tell if these guys have officially captured the checkpoint yet. If they got the radio, I mean, it's gone white, so I'd assume yes at this point, because there's no one there defending it either. But this is just going to leave Zicky to be completely out of position, unless the plan is he's now going to dismount and then walk all the way up. Or if he's waiting to hear those Vics come up so he can then get up and engage them. So now what I think we're going to see is these Vics go up, get the assets. They're going to form a pincer attack on checkpoint 1. They'll probably be able to overpower it because of the light defensive force on checkpoint 1. Blue 4 is then going to have to adjust this force to reinforce checkpoint 1 or at least do a counterattack. And that's going to allow for this strike team to then hit them on the rear. And I could see Op 4 then doing a full sweep here. If the BTR keeps this harassment, though, Blue 4 is going to keep their forces there and keep their rear exposed. And take him out from there. Oh, the Op 4 kill was a TK? Ouch. I was wondering about that, but yeah, I'm not surprised. So Zicky can hear the vehicles moving on. I think Op 4 is going to go for the checkpoints first and then go back and take the vehicles. Which I think throws a monkey wrench in Zicky's plan because I think he was just trying to guard them. But now that he is an insignificant part of the operation, he'll probably need to maneuver. And I'm not sure if there's any vehicles here to let him do that, so he will have to go on foot. Look, I do get why they have those lone wolf rules in OFCRA. It makes sense when you put it on paper. Because you don't want anyone to run off and kill an entire squad by themselves, because that wouldn't be fun, because this is supposed to be like a team-based PvP game. However, it does make it a little tough to field assets in properly if you're trying to get reconnaissance done first. It means you will have to leave them behind. And honestly, the only thing that's stopping the other faction from them going up and taking your assets as you're doing that reconnaissance is a little bit of luck, but just pure skill on the positioning of your units, which can be tough. You got Blue 4 at the sit-down Dishka. They are now firing it at the BTR. Actually manage to get a knockout in there. That was the gunner of the BTR. Driver's still up. I don't know why he's not pulling back yet. I think he's trying to communicate with the gunner to fire. Realizing now that he's not hurt, he's going to pull back. You got the Dishka over here now trying to suppress the tracer fire of that gun, not realizing it's a little more to the left. It does make the gunner get off, though, after he was shot at. All right, we got a body right here. They had to pull Nanard's corpse out because he was taken out, but now Cyrus firing up at the hill with the 14.5 millimeter anti-material cannon. No, it would still be a gun, actually. He's firing at that Dishka up there. They're keeping their heads down. Now you got Op 4. They're popping some smokes over this ridge. They're going to attempt to push. And then you have the Dishka Vic back here. I think it's going to move in a position to try to support these 4 as they push up on this hill. Yeah, I'm not sure what Zicky's going to do in his shoes. We'll probably see him come up later, but how much of an offensive can OPFOR do before Zicky gets back into position? We're still not seeing this force move in yet. They're trying to take this hill first, probably so it can't flank this attack, which is smart, but very risky. But OPFOR is forced to make those decisions because they don't have the numbers. Heard a grenade thrown. These guys are being suppressed by the neighboring hill, but they see all the smoke coming up. That's going to give OPFOR some room. You got Blue4 now trying to climb the ridge here to at least have their back to something solid so they can watch different angles. All right, so we had one of these guys get taken out. I don't know to what. I didn't see any fire come over. It might have been by Malgren. He is looking that way. Kill counts are still broken, unfortunately. Ooh, but he gets headshotted by Police. And Police immediately taking shots from Silver, who's gotten back up here, Mr. Bad Guy. TFP coming over, but he gets sprayed down by the power of the PKM. He tried with the little RPK, but that's the... Was that his grenade? Because I didn't see the other guy throw a grenade. Where did that grenade come from? I swear if Police just blew himself up. Police, my man. Please. Please tell me that was not your own grenade. That was your own grenade. I'm gonna be... Oh, man. Mr. Police. Please, Mr. Police. Yeah, don't cook them for too long, guys. Grenades do spoil very quickly. Oh, man. So, OPFOR not really gaining the momentum they wanted to on this hill. They were hoping they could force Blue4 to route and take it. How is Flip going to adjust here? He still has his forces on reserve. He's got forces back here ready to go take the technicals, I would assume, to then hit this choke point. But if he's not going for a diversionary attack play. He's trying to strategically take positions to piecemeal Blue4 at a minimal risk, but that is causing his forces to become overextended. Pushing this Dishka alone up on the hill is a really bad idea, because that gunner's not going to be able to cover all those angles. He just got hit, quickly pulls back. Gunner just got knocked unconscious. Driver's dead. And the gunner is still up. That was a really bad call there, because that Dishka cannot perform CQC at that proper angle. It's got a limited turn radius of the front. He's going to immediately get picked off, and he's dead. And Blue4 did the smart thing of putting their forces up on the rocks to limit the avenues of engagement they can take. That was a very bad call at that squad's level. But at this point, OPFOR needs to consider this a diversionary attack and push their forces in. They wanted to take this hill first, probably so they can move the BTR and any supporting units they had up on this hill to then cover. But at this point, they're just getting piecemealed themselves. They should be able to take enemy vehicles unless it's specifically marked in the mission, but usually, for at least like cars and stuff, they're able to do that. So you still got Zicky back here. He hasn't been moving. Some of you brought up because of the Lone Wolf rules, the Rambo rules, he might not be able to engage himself, which might very well be true. Otherwise, you got suppression up here, but Blue4 is now in such good positions to still overwatch any units coming up on this hill that it's not too much of a bother. They're still looking at these directions, wondering if there's going to be another attack. And we are past the halfway point of our time at the hour 10 mark. We'll be in 19 minutes, so we're going to start seeing checkpoints get locked out, and Blue4 is going to get some guaranteed points. So OPFOR really needs to start their offensive. I could see OPFOR still taking checkpoint 1 if they begin the offensive in about 5 to 10 minutes, but anything past 10 minutes, and if we get to the hour mark, I don't see it. Did I just see them get mounted in the Vix? I thought I saw someone getting a Vic there. But yeah, they're just sitting around waiting for the other force to make it. I don't know if they're waiting on recon data or this force to score a victory here, but I don't know. They're just sitting down here at this point. They need to make a move. Is Nico going to try to throw a grenade? Yes, he is. I don't agree with that call, because all they just did was show Blue 4 that there are still enemy forces here, because all Blue 4 is going to do is, I'm assuming they have short ranges. Newbass, do they have short ranges? Correct me if I'm wrong. But either way, there's no reason for any Blue 4 player to throw a grenade. So Nico, he's getting shot from the defensive forces at that factory, so that attack is screwed. Before Zymek can even get up there, he hears the fire landing from the crackling of the shots hitting the ground. And he knows that he's got forces watching the rear because that Dishka was taken out. So Op4 are in a bad spot. Nico's battle buddy just got picked off. But we need to see Op4 start the other attack. They've mounted up in this Vic over here. We see some more forces that have gone up on that hill. Maybe they're trying to plan another attack on a different checkpoint. But if Op4 keeps dividing their forces here, they're not going to score a victory. They have to unify and start encircling checkpoints, getting a nice concave on them and pushing in from this one. Pushing through the tree line. Have your support asset, that AGS in the open. Just shell that position. Have another force come and attack from a different angle. Doesn't matter if they have Overwatch. You have a freaking AGS. An AGS can suppress any Overwatch position pretty easily. Nico's alone. I think these rocks are too steep for them to climb. That's why they didn't try it. I know they did it with these other ones, but I mean, look at how steep the rocks are here. I mean, that's climbable. But here, it's a lot taller. And I think he's crippled. So we see everyone mounting up in that Vic. Are they just going to push right in? Or are they going to try to flank? We see Blue 4, they've turned their heads over here. They see that Vic, they're starting to engage it. But again, they're just pushing deeper into enemy territory. I mean, we got some really good players back here. But will it be enough? Who are they fighting? Oh gosh, Pogo _ Roland Nort. These guys will be a match, and they've got Ezio up here with a marksman rifle to cover. And he's supported by Juno, who has that AT. So they're going to try to solo that. They got another Vic down here. They're dismounting all the way over here. What is Flip thinking? Why is he piecemealing his forces so much? I think he's trying to find a weakness in the Blue 4 defensive line to exploit. But he already knows where that weakness is. Checkpoint 3 didn't have anything except 1 or 2 defenders. He was able to PID 2 through his forces, which were the 2, and he wasn't able to find much else after he combed everything. So he knows that if that's the weakened area, Blue 4 is probably going to evenly split amongst the other 2. So why is he still dividing his forces is my real question. They've lost someone. There were 5 dudes here. Now there's only 4. Whether it be to a technicality or a death. I don't see a body in here. Is there a body back here? I don't know. But this is going to be a really difficult battle for OPFOR here. 4 dudes fighting a fully garrisoned checkpoint. And they're... Please don't shoot each other, guys. Come on. You know better. So Roy did get hit with that. That gave OPFOR away if they weren't already given away. I'm waiting to see Ezio start picking people off. He actually took some shots up here. Did his battle buddy go down? I don't know. For a mountain of defense. Grenade gets caught in the wall. Takes the wall out because it's J-Bad, and grenades will blow shit up, which is pretty funny. Royd, I think he hears the footsteps above him. This is good. If Rigel and Parthius keep drawing the fire of blue for, they might allow Royd to sneak in and get some good kills here. There goes Johnny. Royd now quickly pulling back. Grenade gets thrown up there. Stalgrim gets taken out. This is good. This is good. If they can keep it up, they might actually have a good chance here. We need to see Ezio do some work. There's another guy on that corner. He's down too. But I think he just pulled back because we only see 2 skulls here. Pogo comes up, though, and finishes this issue, though. Not surprised. Pogo, again, a really good player. You got Ivno over here. Roland's watching the flank here. But he moves at the last second, letting Ivno pass. Wait, did Roland see him? I think Roland saw him. Ivno goes out in the open and gets taken out, and his body gets phased into the ether. Other guy just got taken out. That was Rigel. And now it's just up to Parthius. And Parthius against Roland, the Pogo combo. I don't see it. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. OFCRA now beginning their attack here. Did I not call this attack out earlier? Look, here's the issue. Where's the AGS truck? Where's that AGS supporting asset to bombard these fortified positions? It's not here. Where is OFCRA's supporting assets? So OFCRA's right flank is now being forced to attack in a trench position. They've gotten a kill. Good for them. They've got the Dishka car up here, though, to contend with. It's forced them to pull out all this smoke. You got this large force right here that'll get right on top of the choke point. Excuse me, checkpoint. But this leaves a lot of room for Blue 4 to counterattack now that a lot of OFCRA force has just been lost. Has been honestly lost. You got Ziki still back there hovering the Vix. I think OFCRA will be able to take this checkpoint, but at a considerable cost. Gaming, thanks so much for giving Azariah a sub. Hope you both keep enjoying the operations. I hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. Look at that initial bombardment. We just saw an RPG go up here. I'm not sure if anyone was in this structure. I wasn't looking. But someone immediately got picked off. That was Bob. You see a massive smoke billow, smoke push coming out here. Really good for the Mujahedeen, honestly. I've been seeing some really great smoke plays tonight with just utilizing smoke to get up to that position. We saw that up on the hill. That last guy, Nico, is also dead, unfortunately. We saw it over here. We saw it over there. OFCRA's been doing a great job with smoking and maneuvering, but without any support, it's just been a tough fight. And look at how many people are going down on OFCRA's pushes here. They were forced to pull back. Parthius got picked off. I think Flip had a really great plan, but he just underutilized his assets. And it's just been a bit of a shit show. Rizbo showing some great offensive capability here. I don't know why Skipu or Chonik were not watching the ridge itself. Skipu now has to pull away. Rizbo also showing us why he's a really good player. He just takes that pincemeal off. Skipu now trying to get back in the corner. Rizbo needs to get his head down. But even then, OFCRA have lost half of this attack force just in the blink of an eye. And Blue 4 still pretty uniform. They're divided, but OFCRA just divided themselves up even more. Falcon's not in this match now. I haven't actually seen Falcon touch any PvP for a few weeks. I hope he's okay. Probably got sick of it, which I wouldn't blame him. We literally had like 11 missions in a row where he just kept dying to friendly fire. In his shoes, I would be sick of it too at that point. I think we'd see a much different much different point of view here if they at least went back and fielded the AGS. I get why Nubas explained why they didn't bring it up. You know, they were trying to be stealthy. I understand that. But they literally left the thing. Here it is. In full working order. The gun's turned down, though, but I don't see any damage to the Vic. So what? Did they shoot it and disable it? I don't know. But this thing could be in between those two squads. Okay, this force reports they're under attack from this position. Hell, they would have seen the fortifications up here. Dun, 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 dun. Nail the shit out of this position. They would have gotten a lot more casualties on Blue Fort. They would have been forced to pull back. Mikhail Cheeseburger could have been taking out 2 really good players, and that could have allowed this force to push in. But instead, they had to pull back. They're down to 4 dudes, and now they're trying to go around it. This force then just kind of went in and got slaughtered. If OFCRA were able to go up here and at least support from a different angle or push in to pull Blue Fort away, then that large force could have gotten in and just overwhelmed the checkpoint. But instead, you've just been seeing a lot of forces going in on their own, no support, and the defense has been able to push every single one back. Except for the first one, but that was just 2 people. So it was to be expected that they would lose. It was expected to be a sacrifice play. OFCRA did that well just by sheer number. They still lost the guy, but it was the friendly fire. The rest of this has just been unsupported attacks, and then the one supported one that happened, it was just a bad position. And the attackers were outnumbered. Regardless, I think Flip will learn a lot from this in the after-action report, and that is the most important part, evolving from your mistakes. Coincidentally, I don't think Kubak's going to learn anything from this because he played a plan, and he didn't have to change anything from the plan. You don't learn anything if you put a plan out and then you don't have to evolve the plan at all. And this is actually really rare where you see a plan go out by a commander and the commander doesn't have to change a thing. He just keeps his forces in where they are and it works. And it's working quite spectacularly here. I pointed out PHK earlier. He's about to get flanked by Vex, though. There it is. PHK was crippled, unfortunately. Now, it's a 4v3 here, so I could see OFCRA winning this fight, but... I mean, look at what we have remaining on the roster here. It's... yeah. See, at this point, that BTR, after realizing that force was lost, should have pulled around and done something to support the first checkpoint. Instead, it's just been harassing that hilltop. Tackle, I think, was just hit. What is up with the friendly fire today on both sides? Vex pulling his binos out, I think just realized he just shot a friendly. What on earth? Dishka now firing down. We saw a Blue 4 guy push up in there. Now it's 1v3. Five minutes left until checkpoint 1 gets locked. I think they'll be able to get it in time, though. Ay. So I'm just looking over my phone real quick. All right, so Tackle was able to wake back up. He's now in a position of cover. Vex, not discounting him yet. He could get in a position to flank these 3 dudes and do some significant damage here. Oh, Flip and Always are going to go up and try to capture it, and Zicky's going to be waiting. That's going to be messy. Four minutes till I think it's checkpoint 1 that gets locked out, but I could be wrong. And Blue 4's actually sent a reinforcing group of 4 dudes to the southern checkpoint. I think because Ezio's reported he saw smoke. He saw these guys pull back. Maybe this 4-man group's gonna then go up the riverbed and try to counter OFCRA's push with a devastating counterattack. That would be smart. Risky, but at this point, I'm not sure if Kubak's realized how much he's winning here. I was going to say he was, but no, from this angle, I don't think he has just yet. Big suppression in that smoke. Lowest numbers unlocked, so 2 and 3 will get locked, but 1 will stay open. Gotcha, but, I mean, that's still a big point advantage going to blue for. And if Zicky just keeps these two Vics locked down and takes out ground command and 2 IC, then that's over. But then again, I think they're going to also get that checkpoint. So that just means checkpoint 2 is locked, so that gives a point advantage actually to OPFOR. That's my bad. But if they keep the trucks locked down at this rate, they're going to get the supremacy bonus as well. Just with the amount of people they're picking off. What we really need to see for OPFOR to be able to turn this around is some really, really intense CQC action. We need to see OPFOR take the remaining trucks, get those captured as well, but I'm just worried about the 2 guys that can get that done being taken out by Zicky. Because Zicky is in an ambush position with an RSGH. So he could blow them both up very easily. So Manshot went down. Yep. They're coming up to counterattack. That's what I figured. They haven't spotted OPFOR yet. Not sure if OPFOR spotted them as they moved down right there. They might have. Nope, they're still looking up the ridge instead. That's a 4v3 engagement. Could swing either way. CSF is a good group, but Sky Online, I've seen them make some good plays. Dave, I've seen... shoot, they're under fire by the Garrison. That's going to force them to pull out of position, but CSF is not in a position to line up kill shots here. I think they're still confused on where OPFOR specifically is. They need to coordinate with that other squad to realize that they're looking a little forward here. Meanwhile, back up here, Vex still on this tall building. He's just camping a stairwell. Wish we'd see a little more aggression, but I get it, because he's the only guy left there. He wants to play defensive. Oh, no. The camp of the century. What is Zicky doing? What are you looking at? Okay, he saw them, but I don't think he realized how exposed he was up there because the lights came on. Yeah, I would go down there and fight them at that point, dude, because if you saw him moving back like that, guns up to you, then he definitely saw you. But I trust Zicky. I have faith in my man Zicky here. Yeah, Vex is camping that, but he'll be able to be overpowered by the 3. Oh, look at that. We missed it, but yeah, CSF delivered some great kill shots here. Sky Online's knocked out. They put a flare on him, too. And now it's just up to Demovar. Beautiful kill shots by CSF. And now I think we're just delaying the inevitable at this point. Zicky on with the camp. Is this Speedstar fully mounted with dudes? Yeah. So what are they waiting for? Oh, God. Demovar taking some accurate shots. He's forced to pull back. He's trying to use his freaking 9x19 Makarov. No, that's, that might have been a 45 ACP, actually. 1911. Misses the shot on Racex. There we go. Gets a great headshot there. This poor man with his bolt action Lee Enfield, and he's got Lolo coming up to smoke him. Ooh, yeah, hostile marksman trying to find an angle on him. Demovar can't line up another shot. He's gonna run down, might spot Coach there. little bit of rock in the way. He pokes his head up. He's looking. Does he see mess? He does not. Demovar pokes his head up again at an angle that's difficult for that marksman to counter snipe him. He's looking. Trying to put shots out on Roland there, but Roland is just evading his crosshairs. I'm surprised Lolo isn't trying to make a move right here. Vex, meanwhile, moving up. He's being aggressive. You got Rizbo, who pulled south. He's on the other side of the compound. Otherwise, Demovar pulling back a little bit. I want to see if Vex is going to make a play. Oh, he's prone right here. He's waiting for them to come up right there. Zinky taken out by Always. I'm not surprised with that because he just stayed in that position. I don't know why he wasn't aggressive. The Zinky we watch time and time again would normally come out of this building and push up aggressively on foot. I don't know why he camped the same room. If you're spotted, you need to reposition. My faith wasn't enough, I guess. Oh well. BTR now aggressively pushing as well. Lolo coming around the rear here. Demovar, not sure if he heard him or saw him, but he's looking up in that direction. Yeah, likely was told just to remain. You never want to take your most aggressive mobile players and tell them to hold still. Let them maneuver, like Vex. Vex has gotten 2 kills here. Not sure if he was just getting shot at by friendlies or if they were shooting at Manchote, but I think Manchote was staying still, so I think it was a friendly. Rizbo, meanwhile, up on the roof, playing a really risky play here. Goes out in the open. Manages to kill the shooter before he is taken out after taking multiple shots on the arms. Hot damn. We're seeing another smoke charge coming in. And gunshot. Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. There's been some really weird plays made today. Demovar, meanwhile, CSF is trying to maneuver around to avenge their one down dude as Demovar is just waiting them out. I don't know. All right, we're seeing some massive amounts of smokes being deployed. I think because they're capturing the VIX now, so that's going to give OPFOR some points on the board. It is the 110 mark. I'm not sure if we'll see it at 120 perhaps, because maybe 110 is not including the time played at the start, the 10-minute save start. But, yeah. All right, Rizbo was taken out by Birdie, and Vex is now coming in to finish up Manchote. But Demovar picked off by Lolo. Last bullet in his magazine, too. That's why we called Lolo out earlier. Paw Op will be at 8 o'clock, which is in 3 hours. Manshot, I don't know what he has left here. I mean, he's got Vex hunting him. We got an OPFOR push coming up to this position with the BTR to support. And then we got the command assets in the back, but I don't know what else we have here. Blue 4 just have a really good string up of units now. And I don't know how we can get this turned around. I think Vex knows he's in there, too, because he keeps looking. He might reposition. No, he doesn't. Okay. He just looked right. I think he thinks there's something down there, though. He might have heard the footsteps or whatnot. So he at least knows there's something down there specifically. From here, I honestly do not see how OPFOR could bounce back. Maybe they could come up, they could capture those 2 trucks, they could take a checkpoint, because they already have that other checkpoint, and then maybe they could still win out on here. With the remaining time, another 15 minutes, I could see that. This force makes a good spearhead, but we got CSF now coming up here. We got a small amount of forces right here. We really need to see Manchote make a good position here. I can never pronounce his name properly. I'm so sorry. And then Command has to find a way to get up here and capture those other trucks. Dishka now firing down at the BTR. I think the BTR at this point is being solo crewed. Move back in the compound. It's firing out the dude skylining up here. Dishka has been turned over to the side. BTR getting a great snipe on that sit-down Dishka. Literally through a bush. And they managed to land that hit as he was reloading. Great spray there by the BTR. A little lucky, but luck has everything to do with Arma 3 PvP. More than you would be willing to admit. If OFCRA is able to get their foot in the door at checkpoint 1, I think they actually have a chance to still win this point-wise, because we always base this off of the point tallies. But they are outnumbered, and they are limited on their angles of maneuverability. But they have the BTR, and that could still pay off for them, because apparently Blue 4 has a lot of their support assets up on that hill. We got Blue 4 ground command right here. We need to see how he adapts here. I'd love to see CSF be sent into counterattack from this angle. But he's already redeployed them up on that hill. So he's been doing a good bit of micro. That's good. That means he is learning something here, because OFCRA is starting to break forces through his lines, and he has to compensate for that. I love how they're firing 5-4-5. I think they might actually be able to knock the window out. If not, they could knock the gun optics out. So they've got the truck up here. Baku dismounting under fire. What are you? I guess they didn't notice. They didn't hear the clicking of the bullets hitting the metal. That's incredibly risky, and it somehow paid off for him. Wow. It might be an FAWR carry. We'll see. BTR still suppressing forces up on the hill. That's caused them to throw out some smokes. OFCRA is going to stake these Vics and drive them back to command. Unfortunately, Gordon just got out and immediately picked off. When the fighting dies down again, I'm going to do a point calculation real quick. I guess they're out of smoke grenades because they used them all here, because this would be a perfect place to put some smokes down so they can get away. But we have a UAZ Dishka coming up by Lolo. Oh, Arsenic. Were you trying to revive him, buddy? I'm sorry to say, but Cyrus did not want you to revive that man. Sorry to say, sir, you're not reviving this man today. Wow. I'm just flabbergasted. Game, no. No! I didn't even do anything! Why are you giving me a status access violation? We didn't even do anything! Alright, well, thankfully the server didn't crash itself. For whatever reason, I crashed. I think there is a glitch with the Urals where, for whatever reason, you'll hear like a weird grinding sound, and then your game crashes to a status access violation. So I think that's what happened, because it decided to do that to me in the, with the Urals that they were driving away. But while I boot the game back up, let's quickly look over at the points here. The point breakdown. So Mujahedeen have liberated 1 checkpoint, so that's given them 2 points. They have stolen 2 or 3 trucks right now at the 2 marker, but they are about to get it to 4, which is 3 points. So that's going to give them 5 points. I don't think they're going to get the supremacy bonus, and it's for 5 or less alive. So they, at least right now, have 5 points. Blue 4, meanwhile, have defended checkpoint 1 and 2, which gives them 5 points, because checkpoint 1 to them is worth 3 points, apparently. So they got those 5 points. And they have only lost, they're going to be up to the 4 or 5 points lost, so that gives them a 6th point. Here, I gotta put the stock image up because I don't want to stream the password. So right now, Blue 4 is still at the point advantage. But if Op 4 is able to capture another checkpoint, they can actually win this. I don't think they're going to be able to steal the vehicle, though, in the checkpoint itself, because that might also get them... no, that would get them a 5th Vic, and that still wouldn't count to any additional points for themselves. And it wouldn't knock the point advantage to the other one, because the 2 remaining Vics are in 2 separate checkpoints. So at this point, Op 4, with the remainder of FAWR, they need to go take another checkpoint to win. Now, the risk with that is if they get down to 5 or less players, that's going to give Blue 4 2 more points, and it doesn't matter if they take the checkpoint. Blue 4 is still going to win. Manchoke killed Vexen? Nice. But now he's getting swarmed. Oh, good golly gee willikers. But he was able to take the checkpoint. Because it's grayed out. Actually, I don't know if that means that... I don't know what the grayed out checkpoints mean anymore, to be perfectly honest. Because this one, I know it never had enemy contact. It had 1 or 2 guys go in it, but there were still people within the checkpoint itself. It might mean locked, but I know this one that was captured has also been grayed out. So I actually don't know where the points are going to fall. I'm just going to assume it on predictions. Not predictions, excuse me, based off of what I've seen so far. So I think Blue 4 is still in the lead, points-wise. But if Op 4, I mean, Manchoke showing us why he's the head honcho, even though it was done while we were tabbed out, killing multiple Blue 4 guys in here. And they're actually trying to send units around to try to find him. As he now holds this area. Yeah, there's only 1 body up here, right? At most, there's 2 now. Awesome. Now looks like Blue 4, they might have honed in on him. They might attempt a breach. I'm really confused here. Is Blue 4 trying to mount these 2 Dishkas to then counterattack? Or what was the plan there? Seems like a little bit of a misplay. Let's go ahead and look at this. See what happens in here. But I still think Blue 4 is in the lead. Could turn around, though. Could turn around. But I don't know if Compound 2 is locked or if it was taken. Compound 1 might have been taken last second. So Manchoke, he hears the footsteps coming up. He's going to line his gun up right here, waiting for them to poke their heads up the stairwell. Dog, I think, is going to get picked off. But Reverendo might be able to have a chance here. If Dog is smart, he's going to see these bodies up here of his dead comrades. He's going to throw a grenade up. That's what he needs to do to guarantee that that area is clear. Otherwise, he's pushing up at a disadvantage. Dog, come on, throw the grenade. Yeah, boy. That was a smoke grenade. Okay. Dog. Dog. Granada. Granada. The Daga. Por favor. There you go. There you go. Oh, you little genius. Let me guess. Dog told you to throw that because he was out of grenades, because that's why he threw the smoke. Oh. Oh, thank you. Don't you love it when the players do it correctly? Such a beautiful execution of tactics when they do it right. Good call. Good call. So what are these chuckleheads doing? Are they just driving out trying to find where Op 4 went? That's just going to lower their amount of players, so then they might actually be able to come back and have a chance. What is going on with these tactics? Now Blue 4. Comeback showing a little bit of an experience here. 2 is locked, 1 and 3 have been captured. That's what I figured. So that's important because 1 was actually worth 3 points to Blue 4, whereas all the other ones were worth 2 to either side. We might see Op 4 upset here, based on how it's going. Still a lot that they need to do, but theoretically, if Op4 were to get a group down here and capture that one Vic, it's GG. No, actually, let me tab out here. Okay, so Mujahedeen captured 2 checkpoints and have liberated 4 trucks. So they're at 2, 4, 7 points right now. Blue 4 defended checkpoint 2, and they've lost 4 or 5 trucks. So actually, what the hell happened? I think OPFOR won. Yeah, that was an RSGH thermobaric rocket and it did nothing. That's what I figured. I'm at least glad I saw that. All right, so now I know. Oh my God. So OPFOR have taken 2 checkpoints because Mancho took checkpoint 1 by himself last second. They took checkpoint 3. So that gives OPFOR 4 points. They were then able to capture 4 trucks so far, and if you capture 4 or 5 trucks, you get 3 points. So that brings their total up to 7 points. Blue 4 only able to defend 1 checkpoint, which gives them 2 points, and they were able to only hold on to 2 of the trucks, which gives them 1 point. Now, even if OPFOR gets the supremacy bonus, I think that's only worth 2 points, and that would bring their total up to 5 versus 7. So I think OPFOR knows that. Now they're just pushing Hail Marys here just to mess with their attackers. Why did you just disappear? So it was just the CQC of Manchote and taking that checkpoint last second that got it for them. Ooh, they traded! So it's an OPFOR victory. But we'll see how the points go down. But based off of how things went, I think, yeah, Manchote clutched it by getting those kills last second and capturing the checkpoint. Guys, you're making me look good from that 506 stop where I played on the ground and missed like 3 point-blank shots of AT. Come on. If you can't hit it from that range, come down and hit it. My God. That's 5 misses so far. The one hit was from an RSGH rocket, which was thermal barrack warhead with no penetration factor. Every shot has been over. That's 5. FAWR Trader with Settler there, but Blue 4 at this point have the supremacy bonus. I think it's, at this rate, 5v7 in OPFOR's favor, but we'll see where the final points get tallied, but that's it. That is it. Well, anyway, as I said earlier, in 3 hours, we're going to be doing a Pog Op. I will be drinking, because why not? Settler woke back up. Great for him. In moments like these, I like to think, so you missed 5 rockets to lull the BTR in a false sense of security so you can then pull a double rocket hit. Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure. Two for 8. 2 for 8. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm not going to call caster curse on that. I'm just going to look at that and go, okay, yeah, that happened. Cool. But what could have Kubak done better as the Blue 4 commander for this scenario? I'm going to be honest with you. Nothing. I honestly don't think he could have done anything better. Let me explain why. A commander's job is to make the plan and execute the plan and make sure his units are executing said plan. Kubak did some really great jobs in ordering CSF to go flank that second attack that was coming at the checkpoint 2. He did a great job of leaving 2 really good players on checkpoint 3. They just choked tonight, unfortunately. And he had forces in really good positions to cover each other, but OPFOR had this crazy play where they just hit from multiple directions with small groups of forces. The only way to lose is if you lose the individual PvP battles. And Blue 4 won most of them, but lost the incredibly critical one, which was that major force coming into checkpoint 1 from the north. They also failed to stop the BTR after it dismounted 4 forces in the open. The 2 riflemen there weren't able to take out those guys. And Blue 4 didn't properly field in those 2 Dishkas to counter maneuvers like that. I think if maybe... if Kubak had those 2 Dishkas under his belt, the 2 Vics, he would have been able to rush those up and stop that pull of those vehicles coming out. But that's a really big niche if, let's be honest. And he still countered with it. He got forces in those 2 UAZs and pulled them back, but it wasn't in time. It was something that he kind of thought of as an afterthought, and as a commander, you can't think of every little thing. So I think the only other thing he could have done was had forces a little more congealed on the checkpoint 1 position itself. But you can't do that. That's a very hindsight thing to say, because that's relying on whether or not OPFOR is going to field in that AGS. And if OPFOR fielded that AGS and he had all of his forces constricted, that AGS would have torn him the fuck apart, and we'd be mocking him for it. So, realistically, I don't see any way that Kubak could have done that better. He just lost the critical fight at checkpoint 1, and that's what cost him. Now, I could... Maybe Nubas is full of shit, and maybe they didn't capture checkpoint 1 in time, but based off of what happened with Banchote there, I think they were actually able to get it. So we're just going to have to see at the ending points. I think it's an OPFOR victory, but I don't know. And we're not going to know for another 5 minutes. So it's a tough call. But I think both sides... I liked Kubak's tactics more than Flip for Flaps, because honestly, no offense to Flip, but that strategy relied really heavily on the individual player PvP, which is nice, but the tactics were tough. Actually, it might not have been you, Nubas. It might have been someone else. But I'm not trying to be mean when I call you or that other person out. I'm just saying because I don't know where the point values are going to be right now. I don't know if checkpoint 1 was officially captured because we don't get any pop-ups. We don't know until the ending points are actually calculated, but I think Flip could have been a lot more decisive in utilizing his assets, as well as... What are... Do it again. Do it again. I wasn't looking. Pursue and engage. Humor me. So when you see symbols slash on the map, it means they're shooting, which is why I came over here and wondered what the heck just happened. Yeah, they smoked the Vic. Engine's down. Did they kill anyone? No? Thank God they're at least shitty shots, but wow, that was unexpected. Hey, Lolo. How are you doing, my friend? We watched you make some pretty great engagements today. Why don't you give us an on-the-ground perspective of what was going on with Blue 4? Yeah, FNF, that's only an FNF trait, them being able to see each other on the map. I don't think OFCRA does it. Actually, Nubass even says it right there, so. You're super fine? Glad to hear it, buddy. Even though your driver was lost for 30 minutes? Ooh. We felt like they were baiting us pretty hard. That's fair. So the one strategy that Flip did have in dividing so many of his forces like that was he was able to attack multiple fronts. Even though it was at different times, but it definitely made sure that everyone everywhere had a little bit of action, which I do kind of like. I do enjoy that factor. I still think, though, Flip could have been a little more supportive on some of his attacks, especially with the AGS. That was completely underutilized, unfortunately. But this is one of those things where, in my opinion, Blue 4 overall had the better PvP, but Op 4 won the specific decisive battles for the specific points. So even though if I were to call it to like a judge, I would say Blue 4 should win, but I think Op 4 is going to have the point total here. Nubass, what happens if an entire side gets wiped before the timer ends? Are you freaking kidding me? I can't take this seriously. I can't take this seriously anymore. I'm sorry. Ezio gets hit by Flip. Yeah, Lolo, tell me how the points are so far scored. I think Op 4 is gonna win here, though. They still win if they did the objectives? Yeah, that's what I figured. So even if they got wiped. Gotcha. Yeah, I should get back with my artist and get a facepalm emote, definitely. We can just use the frickin' goat emotes. That would work, right? But I think those are for tier 2 subs only. Beautiful, beautiful goats. I do agree. So the overall campaign, Blue 4 has won more matches than Op 4, but... Oh my gosh. Come on. Use grenades in this building. That's where the baddies are. Grenade. Granada. Boom boom stick. Boom boom ball. Excuse me. Look at Roland pre-firing that corner. Yep. 5-7 because of those. So 4 to 5 trucks taken. Checkpoint 1, checkpoint 3 captured because Mancho got it last second. Supremacy bonus was triggered for Op 4. Excuse me, Blue 4. But because they lost 4 or 5 trucks, they only got 1 point and held checkpoint 2. So even though it was 15-2 in the end. Op 4 won. Juno just fell from... What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Thank you so much for watching. Go operate operationally. We'll be back in 2.5 hours where I'll be Zeusing and I'm going to drink some whiskey. Otherwise, cheers and have a good one. I need to go rest my head.